Hey, assistant coach, how are you guys doing? It's me, Johnny Sports, and welcome. Finally, you will see my Premier League predictions video. Now, the Premier League is about to start. Today, the transfer deadline day has come around and it is finished. It is already past 5 p.m. A couple of transfers might still happen because they get extended amounts of time because they already reached in the papers before 5 p.m. today, but this is it. Now today I have to make my decision. Where do I see my team Liverpool finishing this season? Do I see them winning the league title, or do I see a surprise team doing really well this season? All of it will be answered in this video. Now, if you guys are as excited as I am about this video, please make sure to hit that like button, because if you guys actually do enjoy these green screen type of videos, I will be coming up with a lot more footage for you guys in the future. I want to bring in some new content onto the channel, especially before FIFA 19 comes out. We can test a few things out, and this is one of those tests. So if you guys could smash maybe over 3,000 likes on this video, I know that's asking for a lot, but if you could do it, that would definitely show me, alright, this is something that people want to see. Let's start off with number 20 in the Premier League. Do I expect a surprise team at number 20? Nope, it's probably going to be the team that a lot of people will be having at the end of their league table this year. It is Cardiff City. I do not expect this team to do well in the Premier League, not because I think they are just not good enough. It's just because I think that the rest of the Premier League is just at such a high level. This team just won't be able to compete. The transfers that they have brought in, I have them in front of me right now. Josh Murphy has joined in, Bobby Reed has joined in, Alex Smithies, and then Greg Cunningham. Other than that, Camarasa today has joined on a loan deal. For me personally, I don't see those players having a huge impact onto this team so that they could survive in the Premier League. It is definitely the number 20 team in the Premier League for me. I am sorry, Cardiff fans, but lots of people will predict you to go down. Coming in at number 19, it's actually a team that has a player that I personally really do like. It's Aaron Moy and Huddersfield. Sadly, I don't see them staying in the Premier League, guys, and I don't think a lot of you guys are as well. Huddersfield had a decent season last year, but I think this time around the competition is going to be too tough, and I think they will be going down, even though they have brought in Terence Kongolo on a permanent deal now. He was loaned out at the Huddersfield, and now they have bought him for 20 million euros. Adama Diakabi has joined in from AS Monaco as well. Two players from AS Monaco, 30 million in total, 10 million for Diakabi right there. And Sobi is also joining in from Stoke City, but I don't see those transfers having the impact that they want to have in that club. I don't see the experience. Those players are too young. Kongolo 24, Diakabi 22, Sobi 21, Hadergonay is 23. There is no experience coming into that team. In my opinion, that team sadly won't be able to stay up in the Premier League, and that's why I personally predict them in the 19th position. Moving on from the 19th position now, who is going to be the last team that will be dropping down from the Premier League and sadly getting relegated? The team that I personally predict to go down, as much as I hate to say this, I genuinely don't want them to go down. I just think that Newcastle, sadly, even though that they have Rafa Benitez, they have done basically no business. They have gotten in Rondon. Dwight Gale has left in a swap loan deal, which is something I've never seen before. I personally hate to say this, but I don't see Newcastle staying up with those players that they have and with the issues that they have at the club at the moment with Mike Ashley. The owner, everyone wants to see him gone. The fans are very unhappy, and I see them struggling in the Premier League as soon as they get like 2, 3, 4 losses back to back against bigger sides. I think the motivation will be coming crashing down at the club because the atmosphere is already very bad at Newcastle. I just can't see them staying up in the Premier League. In my opinion, it's going to be an impossible task. I really hope, though, that Rafa Benitez can do something about it and that he does get the money in January to keep Newcastle up. Because if you look at the teams right now, I think Newcastle mentally ought to be in the worst position. Like, it's just not a good situation to be in. as a player, when you know that the fans are incredibly unhappy with the squad, that they want to see new players coming in, that they are not happy with your performances, the player that is already in the team, they want improvements. And then on top of it, the owner is someone that all of the fans just hate, and I think that's going to be a situation where Newcastle won't be able to save themselves out of. And yeah, that's sadly why I personally am predicting Newcastle to go down in spot number 18. Alright boys, moving on to number 17. Now this is going to be the first team to basically save themselves from relegation, and they will probably be very happy about this one. For me, it is a very tough decision predicting these teams because they could be 17, they could be 16, they could be 15. It's not going to be much of a point difference. But I think that Southampton are going to be struggling, boys. Southampton is a team that I personally predict in the 17th position. Apparently today on deadline day, they are going for Danny Ings on a loan deal. Finally, Liverpool giving something back to Southampton, giving them a player. And hopefully Danny Ings can be doing well over there. But I just don't see Southampton with their current squad doing much better than fighting against relegation. I don't see them anywhere near mid-table because there are just too many good teams right now in the Premier League with insane squads. Coming in at number 16, for me, it is going to be, yep, Watford. I just don't see them doing as well because Richarlison has left. He is a big player in my opinion, and I genuinely expect him to do an incredible job at Everton. Everton have made a lot of signings towards deadline day. We'll be talking about them later on, but Watford right now, when I do look at their transfers, I only see Deulofeu, who has joined in for 13 million. That's about it. I just genuinely don't see anything that will be improving the team a lot. And there are a lot of players in that squad who are aging. There is a lot of experience, yes, and that is probably going to be the reason as to why this team won't be going down. I personally expect Watford to come in the 16th position, but anything better than that would be a huge surprise to me, because I just don't see the motivation in those players. I just don't think that this team will be going for something bigger than just surviving. They could be anywhere from the 14th up to the 17th position, but that is exactly where I expect Watford to end up. They will just avoid relegation, which is fine because Watford has had some great football in the past, and I really hope that they can improve in the future once again. But this transfer window, not too much has changed. Only one big player has left, really. And yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes. Watford in the 16th position. Coming in at number 15, I see one of the biggest surprises of last season, Burnley. Sadly, boys, I have to put it that way. I just don't see Burnley focusing too much onto the Premier League. I think they will be giving their all to the Europa League. I think that's going to be the main target to get that European football experience. I just don't see them focusing too much onto getting into those heights once again, those unrealistic heights, because those types of seasons only happen once every like 10 years for teams like Burnley or those types of squads. You know exactly what I mean. I just personally don't see them performing as well as they have in the last year. I have seen their transfers. It is nothing really incredible coming into the team, but also not too many amazing players that have played last season have left the team. Players like Tarkowski are still in there. One of the highest rated centre backs from last season. He was an amazing player for Burnley in the last year, where their defense was incredibly strong. And I just don't see them focusing onto the Premier League as much. Obviously, they will try and not get relegated. I think they will be able to do that. But European League football will be very important for them. And I think if they do get into the group stages, I'm not actually entirely sure if they are already in there or if they have to qualify. I think they're already in there in the group stages. So they will have a lot of games in the Europa League to think about. And I think they might be working the squad around so that the most important games will be the Europa League games. And those ones, they will put the starting lineup, the best starting lineup possible onto the pitch. While during the weekends for the league games, the squad might suffer. So that is my prediction. Burnley is coming into the 15th position. And now it's getting hotter and hotter. We are getting a little bit closer to the top 10. Coming in at number 14, it is going to be Brighton. Now, the main reason as to why I believe Brighton will be coming up that high in the league table is Jahan Baksh, the guy that has joined in from the Eredivisie, the top player from that season. He was the man that everyone had their eyes on, and he is the one that has joined them. I personally am expecting a lot from him, and I think he will be lifting the performances of his teammates, and I really hope that Brighton will be able to stay in the Premier League, because with that guy, with that prospect, they will have an amazing player in there where they can build a team around him. I have high hopes for him. I know the Eredivisie is nowhere as competitive as the Premier League with the likes of high quality football, but I think the guy has pure quality. He is an amazing transfer, and I'm really looking forward to see how well he will be doing for Brighton. I think he will have a season with over 10 goals and over 10 assists for Brighton, and I think that can have a huge impact onto the morale of that team, and I think he'll be lifting the team forward to push forward and remain in the Premier League and not get relegated. That is my personal prediction. Obviously, looking at that team, the most important thing will be the morale, because we have seen that with Leicester. Even though you might not think that the squad had high quality back then, other than the likes of Kante, Mahrez and Vardy, those people were fighting. Those people were giving everything in those matches, and that's what I'm expecting from Brighton to survive in the Premier League. That's why I have them that high up on the league table. And yeah, number 14 is not bad. Here is now one of the big surprises of the season. At number 13, we have Fulham. Yes, that is the team that I expect to survive. One of those teams that is coming up through promotion of the Championship. They are an amazing team. They have Ryan Sessegnon, who is one of the biggest talents in English football right now. An amazing player that apparently Spurs really wanted to get. They even offered Danny Rose and money, but still it didn't work out for Ryan Sessegnon. He is remaining at Fulham, and I think it's a very, very good thing for him to stay, because Fulham have done some great business. They have brought in Jean-Michel Seri, who was rumoured to go to Barcelona at one point. They have brought in Mitrovic on a permanent deal. He has joined from Newcastle, and that will be very good for them because he has helped them to get promotion, and I think he now feels as the main striker in that team. They also brought in Alfie Mawson as a centre-back. That is also going to be a big signing for them. I don't know if he will be in the starting lineup or not, but I expect him to do a great deal of defending in that team throughout the whole season. And yeah, other than that, Fabry has joined in, Le Marchand has joined in, another very good player. I just think that Fulham have done great business, and while doing so, they haven't really let that many players go out, because normally when you see teams like Fulham go into the Premier League, get that promotion, lots of their players that have done incredibly well, like the likes of Ryan Sessegnon, normally leave to even bigger teams and then play for them. But no, this season that hasn't happened. So I am expecting Fulham to have a great season. They are a tight-knit team. Everyone is working hard for each other, and that's why I expect them to come in at number 13. Moving over to number 12, that is exactly where I personally am expecting Crystal Palace. Now, Crystal Palace's main player, Wilfried Zaha, at one point was posting some cryptic stuff on social media. People were thinking that he finally is going to leave Crystal Palace. There were rumors of him joining Spurs or Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund would have been incredible. I would have loved to see him join them because I think he fits their playing style perfectly. But hey, it didn't work out. He remains in the club for another year, or at least until January. And they have brought in a very, very talented German player for the midfield. Max Meyer has joined in from Schalke on a free. Yes, on a free. I can't believe that no big team has tried to sign him up, but maybe they did try, but maybe they did not offer him a place in the starting lineup straight away. Maybe the coaches let him know, I'm sorry, but at first you will have to prove yourself on the bench. Now at Crystal Palace, I don't think he has that. I think he might have picked Crystal Palace because he knows exactly that he can jump into that starting lineup and have an effect on an impact, an immediate impact onto the way that Crystal Palace play. He's a very small player, yes we know. He was a centre attacking midfielder, but got changed to a CDM at Schalke, played a great season, and now he's up for grabs, and straight away Crystal Palace picked him up. Kouyaté also did join Crystal Palace, another midfielder coming into that squad, but the attack hasn't been strengthened. Is that going to be an issue? We will see. I personally think that Crystal Palace will be coming in the 12th position. I don't see them going higher than that. That's just going to be my prediction. I think that is probably the maximum they will be able to reach this upcoming season. It was a tough decision for the 11th position. It was either Crystal Palace or Bournemouth, and Bournemouth has won that battle in my head. I personally see them coming in the 11th position. I just don't see them going any higher or much lower than that. I see teams like Bournemouth or Crystal Palace bouncing up and down in between the 11th up to the 14th position, but I don't see them anywhere else than that in this league table if everything goes according to plan for those teams. These two teams will be fighting against relegation. Obviously, these types of teams that don't really go for top 8 are going to be fighting for those positions to remain safe in the Premier League, get that TV money, and build up the team for the next year. Slow progress rather than jumping in there, spending all the cash immediately and risking everything. But that is what Bournemouth is doing, and they have been building a pretty good squad, and I haven't really seen that many huge players actually going out. I can check that out right now. Yeah, so Bournemouth have brought in Lerma for 28 million euros. They have brought in Diego Rico, a left back, for 12 million, David Brooks for 11.3 million, and then also Benik Afobe has left. Other than that, nothing huge really happening at Bournemouth in terms of transfers, especially players going out. So their team hasn't really gotten weakened. Now, Jefferson Lerma is going to be an interesting one. He's only 23 years old. That guy has potential, and he could be an amazing player that shows up, takes over that midfield, and then another even bigger side picks him up in the future for even more money. So we'll see what happens right there, but I personally expect Bournemouth coming in the 11th position. Coming in at number 10, I have Leicester City, the team that has lost out on Riyad Mahrez. He has left the squad. He has joined the champions for a lot of money. Now, I think without Riyad Mahrez and also Kante leaving in the past and them not really being able to replace those players, I don't think that Leicester City can reach an even higher position in the league table. Leicester City is a good squad, don't get me wrong. I don't see a way of them going down. They have an amazing defense. They have just brought in Soyuncu on transfer deadline day. He's an amazing talent coming in from the Bundesliga with Turkish origins, so obviously I know about him. He is a very, very talented player who can take over a position in that defense when Maguire actually leaves the team in the future, because Maguire, I think, will be leaving the squad quite soon. I think it might be happening in January, so that is probably why Leicester City have brought in Soyuncu and yet another Croatian centre-back. So two centre-backs joining them. I don't see those two players being squad players. I see them being future starting lineup players and to take over from the current centre-back pairing. That is what I'm expecting. Leicester City have brought in Ricardo Pereira though, who is an amazing player who will be helping them out, and apparently he is going to be playing as a right midfielder instead of a right back. So maybe that's their plan to replace Riyad Mahrez, but as far as I know, they have also brought in Gezal, who can play down the wings, so he will be helping out in that position. But still, I don't see Leicester City even further than the 10th position. Number 10, right down the middle, that's where I expect Leicester City to land, because the other teams have just built up an amazing squad. At number 9, I will have one of the most hyped teams of the season. I expect them in that 9th position, but I don't expect them to be much higher in the league table, because as far as I've seen on YouTube so far, a lot of people are expecting this team to get into the top 8, but I personally think that they are lacking Premier League football experience. All of those transfers coming in won't help Wolves to get into the top 8. That's my personal opinion. I like all those talents. I love them, but I just don't see them getting even further than the 9th position. Wolverhampton brought in the likes of Rui Patricio, Ruben Neves on a permanent deal, Joao Moutinho, freaking Bolly, Johnny. So many amazing players. But I don't see them going much higher than that. I personally think that they will need at least 1 year of getting used to Premier League football, and then they can attack the top 8. Wolves, amazing squad, incredible talents, but for me, it's going to be number 9 this season and not further than that. But they definitely have the potential to do so. But for me, they are lacking the Premier League football experience. So that's what I put them to. Now we are moving towards the teams that have made some incredible signings. And it's going to be very interesting which one I personally put into that top 8. Number 8, I have to make an instant decision right here because I personally think 2 teams fit perfectly in there. It's gonna be Everton. It's gonna be Everton for me. Yep, number 8 is Everton. They have brought in some great players, don't get me wrong. Especially transfer deadline day, it felt like they made like 6 signings. I don't know how many they actually made, but Everton have brought in some quality players. Richarlison, the first one. I think he will have a great season over there. He'll be helping out the likes of Cenk Tosun to score a lot of goals. I personally still think that Cenk Tosun is one of the best poachers out there. So I'm expecting him to do well. Obviously, I have a personal connection to the guy. I know him. My father knows him. And I kind of hope that he will be doing well. Even though I'm a Liverpool fan, I still hope that Cenk Tosun can have an amazing season over there at Everton. Now, the other signings that have come in with the likes of Bernardo, the 5-star skiller from Shakhtar Donetsk. A lot of you guys do know about the kid. He has once even played together with Ronaldinho in Brazil, and he was deemed to be one of the big talents coming over from Brazil and then joined Shakhtar Donetsk, as a lot of Brazilian talents have in the past, like Fred, who has also joined Manchester United this season, but we'll talk about him later on. I see Everton having a great season. I think the fans will be watching great football. Lucas Digne came in for that left-back position. I think he'll be a good addition, but I don't really see him doing an exceptional job. I've never really been too impressed with the kid, but he hasn't really joined in on a high fee, so there's not too much pressure on him. I see him doing a solid job, but nothing spectacular. So he'll be coming into that left back position. Jordan Pickford is still between the sticks for Everton, so I'm expecting them to have a decent defense. They have brought in some quality players in this transfer window, and they are just so close to that 7th spot, but I see the 7th spot given away to this team right here. I am personally expecting an incredible season from West Ham. Yes, West Ham have made some great transfers, some unbelievable transfers for a team that a lot of people were thinking was starting to struggle after Dimitri Payet left. They definitely did struggle, don't get me wrong, but no one expected a recovery like this. Felipe Anderson, Yarmolenko, Issa Diop, Lucas Perez joined in from Arsenal. For midfield, Carlos Sanchez today on transfer deadline day was appointed as their new central midfielders, their central defensive midfielder. Lots of new transfers coming in. Arnautovic on fire. I just don't see this team doing worse than top 8. There's no way this team should be anywhere below top 8. I see them in between that 6th and 8th position. I put them into that 7th spot. That is where I expect West Ham to be. They have brought in Jack Wilshere as well, an amazing midfielder. If he can stay without injuries throughout the whole season, he will be an immense player for their midfield. West Ham have brought in some big firepower into their squad, and I expect them to play some beautiful football in this upcoming season, and I expect them to come into that 7th position with all those transfers, with the likes of Yarmolenko, who I think was an incredible player in Ukraine, but then when he came over to Dortmund, he didn't show up, he didn't show the qualities. I think this league is much more suited for him. It's much more physical. He's a tall guy, he has the skills, he has the shot on him. He is the perfect player for West Ham in my opinion. I expect him to do really well, and Arnautovic will be netting those goals this season, trust me. 7th position for West Ham. Alright, now here's the deal. I personally would have never put this team into the 6th position. I would have never done that. But lately, the things that have been happening at this club and the way that the fans have been reacting to the things that their manager has been saying, the way the fans have been reacting to the business that this team has been doing, everything is looking very, very bad. There's no way they can replicate the season that they had last year, in my personal opinion. That's why I predict Jose Mourinho and his Manchester United squad to come into the 6th spot. But here's the deal. They will have a bad start into the season. That's what I expect. But then Mourinho will get fired. And finally, a decent manager will pick up the work at Manchester United and put them back into that top 6. Yep, 6th position. It's rough because if you see the players that Manchester United have, they should be up there in the top 3 100%. There's no way that Manchester United should be in that 6th position. But with the way that Mourinho has been talking about his players, has been talking about the business that the team has been doing, talking about the youngsters during pre-season, he is nothing but toxic. The guy is bad for the club. Alex Ferguson must be fuming. I cannot believe that he actually is happy with what Mourinho is doing. Ex-players like Paul Scholes have been hammering Mourinho in interviews. They have been talking mad shit about him, and rightfully so in my opinion. In my opinion, Mourinho is not the manager that he once was, and it is the 3rd season. Every time Mourinho gets fired in the 3rd season, or the 3rd season goes really bad for him, I do not expect him to do anything and just to change himself. Mourinho will remain the same guy that he is. He thinks he's the best out there, but football has moved on from the way that he has been playing. People are playing attractive football now, and that is what's working. We have seen that with Manchester City. We have seen that with Liverpool getting to the Champions League final. We will be seeing it with a lot more other teams that are bringing in a lot more attacking players this season rather than defensive players, with the likes of basically West Ham, another example. I just don't see Manchester United getting up there solely based on the fact that Mourinho, in my opinion, has lost it. Yep, that's the way it goes. 6th position. Moving on from that to number 5. The team that I personally put into number 5 is going to be Chelsea. Yes, Chelsea. Now, let's talk about this one for a little bit. Chelsea have lost Courtois, brought in Kepa Arrizabalaga for a record fee for a goalkeeper, even though a lot of people in the Premier League, or fans of the Premier League, didn't even know that guy existed. Now, here's the deal. He's a very talented goalkeeper, don't get me wrong, but the playing style that Sarri wants to play, the attacking football, the possession football that he wants to play, it's probably not the playing style that Arrizabalaga has been playing in the past. He's not known for being able to distribute the ball a lot. So, I see an issue there. The defense is good, don't get me wrong. Azpilicueta is a monster. He is amazing. The midfield has been upgraded massively in my opinion. Jorginho came in, Kante stayed, and Kovacic also came into the squad. That pairing in there in the midfield, that is an incredible team. That will be huge. They could be going far in this season, but the number one issue that I see with this team is it seems like Hazard really wanted to leave this summer. Didn't happen. He might have a few issues in his head. He might not be putting all of his heart out onto the pitch. Willian was rumored to go to Barcelona for a very, very long time. Didn't happen. Maybe the same goes for him. But the main issue that I have with this team is Giroud, Morata. Those two players are not good enough. I think the perfect player for Chelsea would have been Belotti. I think he would have been an incredible transfer. And with Sarri knowing the Italian league, I kind of expected Chelsea to go after him and maybe try and offer like a swap deal including Morata or something like that. I think Belotti would have been amazing. I've seen him play against Liverpool again. He looked very good. He scored a goal. He is an amazing striker and I genuinely expect him to join the Premier League in the future. He is fast, he's physical, he's a clinical finisher. that's all you want in the Premier League. I think the striking position will be the main issue for Chelsea. That is the only reason, really the only reason why I expect this team in the 5th position. Other than that, I see this team going very far normally. But the striker is missing. Morata, I'm sorry mate, I love you, but it's not looking good. So far, you look like Karius in the striking position. Coming in at number 4, who are you expecting? Come on. When we're talking about 4 in the Premier League, which team are you associating that to? Arsenal, obviously. They have brought in some great transfers, don't get me wrong. Arsenal have a good team. But for me, Unai Emery has never really been that coach that I expected to join Arsenal. I don't see him playing the way that fits the players perfectly. Now, Özil might be benefiting from it. Yes, he tends to put a lot of effort into his playmakers. But other than that, I just don't see the team doing as well. And I just don't see the team in a better position than the other squad that I'm about to tell you in number 3. Leno has joined in. Lacazette and Aubameyang are linking up top. They are doing a great job. Özil seems to be very motivated now that he has left the German national team. I expect big things from Arsenal. Don't get me wrong. Sokratis has joined in into that centre-back position. They are looking very good. But number 4 is probably going to be the ceiling for Arsenal. Or maybe number 3. But for now, for the video's sake, I will be putting Arsenal into that 4th position. I just don't see them doing much better than that. And I just don't see them having the same type of problems like the likes of Manchester United and Chelsea. I see a very well-rounded squad which just needs to be directed the right way. And I just am not sure if Unai Emery is that guy after Wenger. So that's why I put them into the 4th position. So who do I see coming in that 3rd position and making it into the top 3? It's going to be Tottenham, boys. Even though they haven't made a single transfer this summer transfer window, which hasn't happened since 2003 for any Premier League team, it is a big shocker for Spurs fans. But do you really need new players? Let's be real. I think the only way for Spurs to really improve that squad would be to spend a huge amount of money. Now, I don't know the financial situation at Spurs, but I have seen Harry Kane get a new contract. I have seen a lot of other players signing extensions and committing their future to Spurs. And it seems like this, right now, this summer transfer window might be the time for Spurs to put some money into the back pocket, wait a little bit, and then splash out the cash either in January or next season. Because I think that Pochettino knows that he can get Champions League football for next season as well with this squad. I think he truly believes that he can make it into that top 4. He takes that gamble upon himself, and I think he knows the championship will be a tough task. Manchester City and Liverpool are looking very good right now. I think he knows that he won't be able to compete with that maybe. And now he's just taken a step back to be able to take 2 steps forward when the time comes. So I see Spurs not making any transfers, but still I see them having a great season, because with the likes of Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, Eriksen, Dembele, all those amazing players and those defenders, Alderweireld staying at the club, Vertonghen still there, Lloris still there, lots of amazing players. I just don't see Spurs doing much worse. And especially now that no one new has come in, I just feel like the team just perfectly knows how they play. They don't have to, no player has to adapt to the playing style. They know how they played last season. They just have to repeat it this season. And that's what I expect from them. And that's the reason I see Spurs coming in at number 3. All right, here we go. Number 2. I will reveal it to you guys. Do I actually believe, as a Liverpool fan, do I think that we can win the title? Am I already that far in my assumption? Do I think that this team has been strengthened enough to win the Premier League title, to beat Manchester City, the champions of last year, who have gotten themselves 100 points in the last season? No, I'm sorry. Liverpool will be coming into the 2nd spot and Manchester City will be crowned champions once again. That is my personal prediction, and it hurts me to say this, but Liverpool have brought in Fabinho, Keita. They have just done great business. Don't get me wrong, great business. Alisson also coming in for that goalkeeping position, which was much needed. One of the best goalkeepers in Europe last year. But I think this team is missing just one last puzzle piece. And that is another top quality centre-back next to Van Dijk. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Lovren. He had the best season of his life last year. He was great for us in the Champions League. He was one of the guys that was pushing the team forward. But in modern football, you need centre-backs who can play football. And that is exactly what I personally think Lovren is not able to do. I just don't see him distributing the ball as well as the likes of a Van Dijk. I just don't see him being as consistent defending as the likes of a Van Dijk without making too many mistakes. Every season we have 3-4 games throughout the 38 games where Lovren makes a mistake and we concede a goal. And that is something that we cannot allow ourselves, because other players will make mistakes too. But this guy is making mistakes consistently throughout every season so far for us. He was really bad in the past. He got a lot better. Last season was amazing. Took Liverpool to the Champions League final. Took Croatia to the World Cup final. You cannot deny that he has had an incredible season. And I really genuinely hope that he can carry that confidence into the Liverpool starting lineup and try and be a better defender and just have more confidence. But I just don't see Liverpool beating Manchester City. Manchester City have brought in Riyad Mahrez, basically kept the same team because they already have an amazing team. They already have incredible players onto the bench. Bernardo Silva, incredible player. Last time he played in the cam position, he was ridiculous. I saw that match in the preseason. He was sick. The guy is a huge talent. But the likes of Bernardo Silva or Mahrez, one of those two, or Sterling or Leroy Sané, one of those players is actually going to be sitting onto the bench. Do you understand? That team is incredible. Kevin De Bruyne is getting better and better. Aguero is not getting worse. Jesus is getting better. They have an incredible young squad in the attack with the likes of Jesus, Leroy Sané, Sterling. They are all growing. And that league title from last year, I think it's going to be them smelling the blood. I think they want more, and I think Manchester City are gonna get it done once again. So Liverpool coming in second, Manchester City first. That is my prediction, even though it hurts myself to say that, but I don't expect Liverpool to win the Premier League title. I just hope we can get like an FA Cup or do well in the Champions League again and have a good season and keep improving. That is the target for Jurgen Klopp. I don't think that he immediately wants to win the Premier League. I think give us one more season and we can get to the level of Manchester City by making one or two more signings that can improve the team a lot next season. But that is it, boys. Let me know what you think about my predictions in the comments down below. Let me know in the comments down below your predictions for this upcoming season. I am incredibly excited. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And yeah, take care. Peace.